Alright, we're going to talk about Windows Firewall a little bit. So under Windows Firewall, one of the things, first I just want to walk through, show you where the settings are real quick. So if you open Defender Firewall Advanced, you can come in for each domain, private, public, go to Customize, and this will show you where your log is stored and what the file name is. As well as, what size, what are you logging, dropped, or dropped and successful. I originally had it set to both, just kind of playing a little bit. And you can see mine's controlled by the domain controller in the GPO. So everything looks good, set up. So when you get into the event viewer, one of the things that I found is there's nothing here for firewalls. I even drill in under Application Services, down under Microsoft, scroll all the way down, we can see the Windows Firewall with Advanced Security. Then there's a firewall here, but the problem is the events aren't being logged here. This pretty much just shows you changes, exceptions, what's been added and removed, which I find kind of troubling that they just go in and add and remove what they need. So how do we read the firewall? So I'll open the path up here. This is the full path, just as we've seen. Here is the firewall. This would be the old that things will move to when it gets full. Well, can't open it here, so I just did a quick copy and dropped it in here, just so you can kind of see what the raw format looks like. So we've got these 5 lines of blank, then we see all of the entries, and they are space delimited. Okay, great. Well, we know it's challenging to be able to read these even, right? Some of the manipulation we would have to do. So wrote a quick little PowerShell. Started out simple, and my goal was really to kind of start with how do I detect rogue systems on the network. That's kind of how it started, and from there it just kind of blew up into a little bit more and more. So one thing, I had this script up here I want to show you. It's called Firewall Log Fixed. One of the things I found in my domain is that 2 of the computers were not logged, actually 3, I just brought a 3rd one online. They were not logging properly. All of the settings we just reviewed were set up properly. But when I went into the folder, the file did not exist. It wasn't there. Fortunately, I was able to do a quick search, come across this script here. Here's the link for the guy. And in a nutshell, on the local computer, I ran this. It created the folder, set the permissions, and created both of the logs. As soon as I was done, and I will add this in, make sure to reboot. Okay, so once I rebooted, went in and started looking at the logs, they started growing. So great little script. I want to throw it in there so you're not spending hours, trying to find it. So this firewall simple, 2 things I want to note. So first, I did include the link for the guy with the fix, but also this guy right here, Martin, created a class, which made it super easy. So the class, pretty much Windows Firewall entry, will go out, read the entries, and it will parse it based on space delimiter. Then this way, it's more usable. So I called this a simple script, and it goes through and puts everything in a proper format in proper fields for you. So this way you can go in and kind of play a little bit with it if you want. So if I just jump back to a command prompt, run simple list. So we'll just run it. You can see 15,000 lines, and based on this format, I'm only returning the first 100. This way, just for efficiency, quickness for the video. But here's all of the columns that are included. You can comment them in and out and modify it, play with it so that it fits your needs. As you start seeing some of the other scripts, that's when, we can start getting into, you can start doing better filtering, I'll call it. So this script is just a quick, handy, down and dirty, show me my results, and I can parse my logs real quick and easy. So firewall info, this one does a little bit more. It's pretty much based off of the simple list. And as you can see, I run 3 separate reports for information that could have value. And again, here's that simple list that I had. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete it out of this one. Then we take some of the results, save it to files, we export, a few things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in, run it. This one is firewall info. And again, all of this is running local only to this firewall log. You can see I do have 2 up here for the domain, and I'll show you the value of those here in a moment. So a lot of stuff happened here real quick. So first is what I did is I grouped by the protocol and the port and whether it was allow or deny. So you can really look through here. And by the way, this was the only machine that I turned allow on. And I do have some filters for the deny. So really, I like to look through at the drop ports. What are they? Obviously, have to Google them quite often because we all cannot remember all of the ports. Then is what it does is it goes out and it gets a source list that says, give me every source IP in the list that's unique. And the next script we're going to run, you'll see some of the value in it. Then this one just dumps a little bit more. It actually groups it by source IP, its action, allow or drop, then by the port. So you can really start looking to see what's on your network, what's allowed, what's not, and start building to it. I also dump out here into a grid view. And the nice thing about the grid view is you can just jump in and say, you know what, I want to see destination port. And there was one, I think it was 5353. And it will filter on that. And now I can see. So if you've never played with grid view, this is a cool little way to be able to filter quick, easy, to see what you want to see. Even if you wanted to filter, let's just say, by action, and I only want to see drop. So you can see it's filtering, now it's only drop. I could add another one, say only show me, so let's see what dropped for protocol, and we'll throw in TCP. You can see there's a virtual machine that's struggling a little bit. So now I can see all of the dropped TCP, what the source and destination IPs were. So again, grid view, just a good way for you to see what's in your logs and to be able to manipulate, what's there. We'll keep it there. So firewall DNS check. This one here kind of pulls similar to the other, and it comes down and says, show me all of the unique IPs, that'd be my source list right here. So I'm saying give me all the source IPs that are unique and based on drop. So I'm going to see all of the actions that have dropped. Then is what I'm going to do is run it through and check and see if there's a DNS entry. And for some reason I can't see, argument list. So I'm going to resolve the DNS name based on the DNS server. So if we go up to the top, up here are my 2 DNS servers. So you'd be able to quickly add them in. So this is DNS check. So we'll jump out to a command prompt. Okay, so after it runs, what am I looking for? So out of all of the IPs that have been dropped from this particular host, are they in my DNS? So I do have a DNS server, which should be authoritative, and I should have all of my devices in the DNS. So if I start to see devices that are not, I want to start questioning as why. And because this is on a domain with the DC, I do have others outside of the lab that's not, but so you can kind of see the value in here. So IP to string, hit this one not found. If it is found, obviously, it's returning its name. So we can see workstation 1, 2, 4, and we also see a few others that have not resolved. There's workstation 3. Then we have some IPv6s that have not resolved. So I either need to look at the DNS. Why aren't they added in there? Are they rogue? What are they? So for this particular machine in Standalone, there's a lot of value here for me looking to see if there's any rogue devices on my network. Are they trying to scan? What are they trying to do? So everything we've talked about so far have been simply all standalone based on an individual workstation. But we get into firewall domain. Now, so what this will do, it'll produce similar results that the firewall info will. So I'm just going to jump out. Let's close this. So this one is firewall domain. So I'm going to run firewall domain. And this will run, you can see it's pulling all of the machines from the Active Directory. Now I did leave this one in intentional. Notice that it did not find, you remember early in the video I said, you know, some of the machines were having issues with the logs. I have not run that script on it intentionally so that I could capture it when developing this. So you can see workstation 4, it's currently not logging. Okay, so this script here, the first thing I'll point out, so it ran 4 computers on the domain, started at 350, finished at 351, so it actually went pretty quick. I've seen it take 5 and 6 minutes. Workstation 4, you can see, does firewall path exist? False. So this would be something for you to look into. Well, then again, very similar, we can see each of the workstations or computers. We can see what the count is for each of the protocols, what the port and its action, and in this case, because I did filter on drop. So again, I would be looking for some of the rogue. Why is port 80 dropping? You know, things like that. So again, good information here, at least to get you started. You know, what are my firewalls doing? Are they doing their job? Okay, so the last one we're going to talk about is the firewall domain DNS. Again, that is the same as this firewall DNS check, with the exception the domain will enumerate the entire domain. So if you remember from the other videos, we reach out to Active Directory, pull all the computers in, say give me all the domain computers, what's online, and we run against what's online. But then we'll kind of jump down. You can see here's the DNS server again. But then we'll say, does the firewall log exist, just as we did in the previous. Then this one will take the source IP and run it against your authoritative DNS servers. So I'm going to go ahead and run that one now. Okay, so first thing I'm going to point out real quick, started at 3:53 and ended 4 o'clock. So this one took 7, almost 8 minutes. Depending on the size of your environment, how big the logs are, I mean, this could vary. So just wanted to point that out, just let it run. So again, we see workstation 4 does not have any logs. But then, you know, for the entire domain, I can kind of scroll down, you know, what machines are part of my DNS, what's not, and, you know, can I find some of these machines? Not that one, so we'll scroll down. So I can see there's a number of machines, devices that are not part of the DNS. So I'm definitely going to look those up, see what I can do to correct it. You can see, yep, Pi-hole. So, and it picked up both for IPv6 and IPv4. So a lot of good information here. I know I walked through the scripts real quick. There's too much. We can go down a whole lot of rabbit holes. And because everybody looks at logs differently, I think I've just given you some of the highlights. And I really wanted to give you a tool that allows you to review your logs and hope you don't find any rogue devices or malicious activity. So enjoy, and as always, subscribe, like, give me any feedback, and make sure you go to the GitHub and pull all the scripts. Thank you.